What's up, football fans? Monday Night Football just delivered one of the wildest storylines of the season, and if you missed it, buckle up because this one had everything. We're talking about a legendary quarterback making a shocking comeback at 44 years old, a young star putting on an absolute clinic, and a game that had major playoff implications written all over it. The San Francisco 49ers rolled into Indianapolis and absolutely dominated the Colts 48-27. With Brock Purdy throwing a career-high 5 touchdown passes. But the real story? They spoiled Philip Rivers' emotional return to the city, where he last played back in 2020. Let's break down this instant classic. First, we need to talk about how insane this whole situation is. Philip Rivers is 44 years old. He retired after the 2020 season, and most people thought his playing days were done for good. But here's where it gets wild. The Colts were desperate. They started the season 8-2 and looked like legitimate playoff contenders. But injuries hit, things fell apart, and they needed someone who could step in and run the offense immediately. So they made a call to Philip Rivers. Rivers thought the ship had sailed on his NFL return, but his relationship with Colts head coach Shane Steichen and his familiarity with the organization brought him back. The guy unretired and signed with Indianapolis, giving us one of the most shocking comeback stories in recent NFL history. Coming into Monday night, the Colts were on a 5-game losing streak after that hot 8-2 start. They desperately needed a win to keep their slim playoff hopes alive. And honestly, Rivers played pretty well. But unfortunately for him and Indy fans, they ran into a buzzsaw named Brock Purdy. Let's talk about the man of the hour. Brock Purdy put on an absolute show under the lights in Indianapolis. 5 touchdown passes. Career high. The dude was surgical out there, carving up the Colts defense all night long. Purdy finished the game going 25 of 34 for 295 yards with those 5 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. And honestly, that interception wasn't even his fault. It went right through Kendrick Bourne's hands. The guy was locked in from start to finish. Here's what's crazy. The 49ers scored on every single one of their first half drives, except when they got the ball with just 17 seconds left. They were unstoppable. Purdy connected with Demarcus Robinson for a 22-yard touchdown, found Christian McCaffrey for a 2-yard score, and hit George Kittle to give San Francisco a 24-14 lead at halftime. But Purdy wasn't done. Coming out of the break, he immediately drove the 49ers down the field and found Juwan Jennings for a 3-yard touchdown on 3rd and goal. That extended the lead to 31-17, and you could feel the momentum completely in San Francisco's favor. The precision, the decision-making, the arm talent, Purdy showed why he's become one of the most trusted quarterbacks in the league. And with the playoffs on the line, this is exactly when you need your quarterback to step up. We can't talk about this game without mentioning Christian McCaffrey. This guy is an absolute weapon, and he showed up in a major way Monday night. McCaffrey racked up 146 all-purpose yards, including 117 yards on the ground on 21 carries. He also caught 2 of Purdy's touchdown passes, including a crucial score from the Indianapolis 9-yard line in the 4th quarter that put the game away. The Colts simply had no answer for him. Whether it was running between the tackles, bouncing it outside, or catching passes out of the backfield, McCaffrey was a problem all night. Meanwhile, Indianapolis tried to get Jonathan Taylor going, but the 49ers defense held him to just 46 yards on 16 carries. That's shutting down one of the league's best backs. George Kittle also had a monster night before leaving with an ankle injury, catching 7 passes for 115 yards and a touchdown. The 49ers' offensive firepower was just too much for Indianapolis to handle. Now let's talk about the moment that absolutely crushed the Colts' hopes. Late in the game, Indianapolis was trailing 41-27, but still had a pulse. The 49ers were already in field goal range when Purdy threw an errant pass that went through Bourne's hands and got intercepted. This could have been the turning point. Philip Rivers immediately went to work and found Alec Pierce, who had a monster game with 2 touchdowns, for a 33-yard gain to flip the field. The crowd got loud. You could feel the energy shifting. The Colts had life. But then disaster struck. On the very next play, Dee Winters jumped a Rivers pass intended for Ty Warren and took it 74 yards to the house for a pick-6. Game over. That back-breaking defensive touchdown made it a 3-score game and completely deflated any comeback hopes Indianapolis had. It was a tough way for Rivers' return to end. Despite the loss, he actually played well, going 23 of 35 for 277 yards, with 2 touchdowns and that one crucial interception. But Purdy and the 49ers were just better on this night. This game had massive playoff implications for both teams, but in very different ways. For the 49ers, this win was huge. San Francisco improved to 11-4 and now controls their own destiny for the #1 seed in the NFC. If they win their final 2 games against the Bears and Seahawks, they'll secure a first-round bye and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. That's absolutely massive when you're trying to get back to the Super Bowl. The 49ers jumped the Rams in the NFC West standings and are now in prime position to make a deep playoff run. With Purdy playing at this level and weapons like McCaffrey, Kittle, and their receiving core healthy, this team is dangerous. For the Colts, it's a devastating loss. After starting 8-2, they've now lost 6 of their last 7 games. The playoff hopes that once looked so promising are basically gone. Their loss clinched playoff spots for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Buffalo Bills, and Los Angeles Chargers in the AFC. The Phillip Rivers comeback story was supposed to save their season, but it just didn't work out. Sometimes in the NFL, a great story doesn't have a fairy tale ending. Let's give some credit to the other players who showed up Monday night. For the Colts, Alec Pierce was absolutely incredible. He caught 4 passes for 86 yards and both of Rivers' touchdown passes, including a beautiful 20-yard strike on the opening drive. Pierce showed why he's developing into a legitimate weapon in this offense. Josh Downs also had a solid game with 5 catches for 65 yards. The receiving corps gave Rivers some help, but it just wasn't enough against San Francisco's firepower. On the 49ers side, Juwan Jennings added 71 yards on 5 receptions with his touchdown grab. The offensive balance Kyle Shanahan's team showed was impressive. They could beat you through the air or on the ground, and the Colts had no answers. So there you have it, folks. Brock Purdy's 5-touchdown masterpiece spoiled Phillip Rivers' comeback attempt, and the 49ers are now 2 wins away from locking up the top seed in the NFC. This game showed why the 49ers are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. When Purdy is playing at this level with all those weapons around him, they're nearly impossible to stop. As for the Colts and Phillip Rivers, it's a tough ending to what could have been a magical story. What did you think of this game? Can the 49ers go all the way? Should Phillip Rivers hang it up for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, smash that like button, and subscribe for more NFL breakdowns. I'll catch you in the next one.